So in continuation with the last class, today what we are going to do, we are going to now do the practicals for DHCP. Okay. So this DC01 was there, right? In our case, what I will do, I will try to convert or install DHCP role in the same server and use this server as a DHCP server as well. So if I install the DHCP role, so totally there will be three roles will be running in this DC. One is the domain controller, another one is DNS, another one is DHCP. So total three services will be running in this server. Okay, but ideally we should not have any other role along with the Active Directory. Active Directory and DNS should be there only in the domain controller, no other services. But sometimes, due to some hardware constraints or maybe investment constraints, people will install DHCP also in the domain controller, but it is not recommended. Okay, so since we are using this as a lab and we have VMs crunchers here, capacity crunchers, so what I will do, I will use this server as a DHCP server. So let me log into this server. Okay, see, as soon as I log into this server, let me check if I have any DHCP role installed or not in the server. Okay, where I have to go? As soon as I log into the server, you need to go to the server manager, and here in the tool section, you can see if you see any service which is named as DHCP. In the D, we don't have any other service, only defragmentation, disk cleanup, and DNS is there. Only three services are there, but there is no DHCP inside this server. Hence, what we have to do, we have to install the DHCP service or the role by going to the add roles and features here. Okay, so you can go to the add roles and features and install the required role. Okay, so let me allow. Okay, yeah. So now I'm in the server, which is my DC01. I went to the tools and checked. I don't see any role called DHCP, and I need to convert or create a DHCP role. So what I'll do, I'll go to add roles and features. I click on add roles and features, and then I'll just follow the wizard, the role or feature installation wizard. Next, next, and here you see multiple roles. Okay, what role you wanted to install, you can click that and select that role. In my case, I need to install DHCP, right? So let me click on DHCP here and add the feature. Click on next, 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 and install. So now the DHCP role will get installed in my domain controller. So my domain controller now it start working as a DHCP server also. Means I have just installed the role. Okay, but I need to do further configurations and all. I need to create the scope. I need to do the reservations. I need to do the exclusions. Whatever I have taught you in the yesterday's class, right? Those things should be configured here. I'll show you that. Okay, let us wait for this installation to complete. It will take 30-40 seconds normally. Okay, you see now the installation succeeded. Okay, it gives you configuration required, installation succeeded on dc0-fb.facebook.com. And in order to complete, you see here complete the DHCP configuration. Click on this complete the DHCP configuration. It will take you to the wizard and you need to commit here. Okay, it will tell you, you have to read this description. Okay, following steps will be performed to complete the configuration of the DHCP server on the target computer. What you have to do, create the following security groups for delegation of DHCP administration. One is DHCP administrator and DHCP users, and authorize the DHCP server on target if domain joined. See, that's what, if the machine is domain joined, the server is domain joined, we have to authorize it, otherwise it will not work as a DHCP server. Even though you install the server, it will not give the IP address and all. I'll show you how to do that and all. Okay, and these groups now, if you want to give access to DHCP administrator or network administrator, in order to do the modifications or in order to do the administration of the DHCP server, you can add those users list to this DHCP administrator groups. Okay, or simply users, you can add it to the users. So click on next, and it will ask you some credentials and all. It's a Facebook administrator, let me go with that only, and I'll say commit. Once I commit, the installation is completed. Now if you go to the tools here, and now you can see a new service or a role called DHCP is installed here. You can click on the DHCP console. Okay, and if you expand it little, okay, and you see here, I told you, right, I have clicked on authorized. Since I have clicked on authorized, this IP version 4 and IP version 6 are, you can see as it as green. Okay, if it is not authorized, okay, if I say unauthorized, I'll right click on this DHCP server and say unauthorized. If I do unauthorized, okay, this won't be green, and it will, even though the service is running also, it will not give the IP address. See, it has become red and down symbol, because this server is not supposed to be created to give the IP addresses or to distribute the IP addresses. So this is also one of the troubleshooting. Sometimes the user says, I am unable to get the IP address. Multiple users started complaining or started creating the ticket stating that I am unable to get the IP address. They don't know whether they will get, whether they are getting the IP address or not. They will tell you, I am unable to open the network, I am unable to access anything, like that they will arise, because they don't understand this IP address and all. So first and foremost thing what you have to do, you have to make sure the the server is pinging or not. You can say ping 192.168.230.130. This is my IP address. See, I can ping it. Okay, it is working fine. And let's look up 192.168.230.130. See, this is my DC01-FB facebook.com. So, and that is pinging or not. First and foremost thing you have to do, yes, see, it is pinging perfectly fine. That means the server is up and running. This is the way of troubleshooting. Okay, so even though the server is up and running, but the users are still not getting the IP address. What could be the reason? You need to come and check the DHCP services in the services.msc. If I go to run, there is an option called services.msc is a command. If you open this, you can see multiple roles and services here. Now your service is DHCP. See, DHCP server and DHCP client. Second thing what you have to make sure, you need to make sure whether the DHCP server service is up and running or not. See, it is kept to automatic. That means if the computer gets powered on, automatically the DHCP server will be start running. And you can see the status is already running. That means the server is up and running. The service is also up and running. Next thing what you need to check, but still the users are unable to get the IP address. What you have to do next, you need to make sure the DHCP server is authorized or not. Okay, when you come and see here, had a look, you can see the IP version 4 and IP version 6 are red in color and they are downgraded, degraded. So what you have to do, that means the server is unauthorized, you need to make them authorized. So you need to make them authorized, so that whenever there is a request comes for the DHCP IP address, this dc01-fb.facebook.com server will start giving the IP address. Okay, so I will make it authorized now. So I had make it authorized. See, now you can see IP version 4 and IP version 6 both are turned green. So this is a way of troubleshooting. So till this time, what you have to make sure, you have made sure the server is up and running, you have made sure the service is up and running, and you have also made sure the server is authorized enough to distribute the IP address. Okay, next, sir, you have created the server, but where have you mentioned the which range of IP address the computer should be given, or where is the exclusion, where is the reservations. Okay, it is a newly built server. I don't have any scope in the both IP version 4 and IP version 6. I don't touch IP version 6 because we are only studying IP version 4 as of now. Okay, I don't touch that. If you look at IP version 4, there is no scopes in it. If you remember, while explaining the DHCP theory, I explained you scope also. Scope means it is a parameter, or it's an option where you can define the parameters: start IP, end IP, what is the range of for distribution, what is the range for exclusion, is there any reservation is there, is there any allow deny rule is there. Everything will be inside the DHCP scope. Now let us understand how can we create a DHCP scope. Very simple. You need to right click, say for example a new setup is there, you have created on conference hall. Okay, and people whoever goes inside conference hall, when they try to connect to the Wi-Fi range in the conference hall, what range of IP address the DHCP server should assign, what is the subnet mask, what is the default gateway, further any DHCP parameters how can we give, that is what I am going to show you. Right click on the IP version 4 and you see new scope option is there, the second option. If I click on new scope, it will ask you a name. Now what I will do, my conference my conference hall. Okay, this is my scope name. I am going to define. Now I will tell you what is the start IP, what is the end IP also. Okay, start IP, say for example 192.168.2.0, last IP 192.168.2.255. Okay, so it's a slash 24 network. That's the reason 0 to 255 is there, and it's a class C IP address, and that is the reason subnet mask C 255, 255, 255, and 0. Because first 3 octet for network, here in the class C more number of networks will be there, and less number of hosts will be there, and that is the reason last bit is 0, last octet is 0. You may have a question, sir, how will we know this information? In the ticket, the network team will give you this information. What should be the name, what should be the start IP, end IP, length, every information will be given by them only. Okay, click on that, click on next. Okay, so here it should be 1, it should not be 0 because first IP address should be 1. That is the reason. Okay, so click on next. Okay, here it should be 254. See, first is 1, last is 254, and is 24, and subnet mask is class 3. If I click on next, it will take me to the next one. And now it is telling add any exclusions and delay if you want to set. You see, exclusions are the address or range of address that are not distributed by the DHCP server. A delay is the time duration by which the server will delay the transmission of a DHCP offer message. Means if you want to set some delay, maybe as soon as the computer asks for an IP address, how long delay should be there, like 30 seconds, 15 seconds. By normally within 16 seconds default, within 16 seconds the DHCP server will do the negotiation, handshaking, and it will give the IP address. But if you want to set some time, if you want to set some delay, you can define like 30 seconds. This is in milliseconds. Okay, so 30 means it is 30 seconds means it is 300 3000 milliseconds. Okay, sorry, 300 milliseconds is 30 seconds. Like this you can define. So, but in my case, I don't want to exclude anything as of now because I want to show you some statistics. I will show you how to exclude later once the scope is created. So, click on next, and the least duration, if you look at here, the least duration says by default it is coming 8 days. I was explaining you yesterday that lease duration will be 8 days. Means once you give the IP address, once the DHCP server gives the IP address for your computer, it will keep it for 8 days. If you are not connecting to the network within these 8 days, that IP address will be taken back to the pool, and whoever comes next and connect to the network, for them it will give. Okay, that is how the DHCP works. So click on next, and it is asking, would you like to configure the other options like your router IP address, means gateway and other address? Yes, I need to add. As soon as you click on yes, it is asking your router IP address, means your default gateway, that is 192.168.2.1. I've added. This is my router IP I've added. Now you can see there in the address distribution I have given like 192.168.2.1 to 2.254, and here in the router IP address I am adding 2.1. So if any other computer comes and asks for the IP address, DHCP may give give the IP address first with 2.1, because I have told it for the distribution like 1 to 254. Okay, there is a conflict. I'll show you how to remove that. Okay, but gateway we are adding like this. And domain name, see, automatically, since it is a facebook.com 230.130, automatically it has taken the DNS address. Otherwise you can add multiple, like 192.168.230.231. Add. You can add. Okay, multiple DNS can be added, not a problem. And you can click on next. It is still verifying whether it is available or not. I don't know if I have forgotten the IP address. This one, ADC. Let me check what is the IP address of the ADC. Password @123. Let me check the IP address of it. Okay. It is 192.168.131 it is. Okay, I think I have added here wrong. So here 192 dot 168.230.131 only, no added none. Let me check one more time. It is 192.168.230.131 only. Gateway is 232. Okay. So it will just trying to see, it got added now. The first 130 is my primary DNS server. Second one is my alternate DNS server. Okay, I've added next, and this is Win server. Win means it is Windows Information Internet Information Service actually. So this is for the 2003 servers and above, old servers. I don't need to configure anything. Just go with the next information. And I want to activate this scope now. Yes, I want to activate it and finish. Now you see a new scope got created here, and the scope name is called as My Conference Hall. See, and now under this you see multiple address pool is there, address releases is there, reservations are there, scope options are there, and policies also there. Now if you right click on the scope option and see the display statistics, there is an option called display statistics. In the first option, right click, see display statistics. It is telling you there are total 254 IP address from 1 to 254. I have given like 2.1 to 2.254, and in use is 0. 0 is used now. Okay, nothing is used. Available is 254. So 100% scope is available. And if you go to the address pool, see the address range for distribution is set from 2.1 to 2.254. But what if a computer comes and asks for an IP address now? The DHCP server will start giving the IP address from 2.1 start with. But in the gateway, if you see, I've already mentioned as 2.1 as a router IP address gateway. That means it's already used by the router. If again this IP address goes to some computer, there is a conflict. Two addresses will be there in the two different same address will be there in the two different computer or devices, then both will not work and both will not be there in the communication. And that too, if the router IP address having the conflict, the entire network will not work. Okay, that is why we have to make sure always the router IP address and the server IP address are static and it is not set to be dynamic. Okay, that is why whenever we build a server, we will manually go to the network interface card, add the IP address. So now, how can I overcome this? What I will do, I will exclude some distribution range. Right click here and you can say new exclusion range. You can mention like 192.168.230, sorry, 2.1 to 192.168.2.10. So 1 to 10 IP address I am going to exclude, so that the DHCP, whenever it start giving the IP address, it will not touch the range from 1 to 10. The 10 IP address it will not touch only. If it will start with 2.11 for the distribution. Okay, add and see, this is the address for range for distribution initially given. See, start IP and end IP is 2.1 to 2.254 and I have excluded from 2.1 to 2.10 10 IP address. Now if I go and check the statistics here, right click and say the check the statistics. See, it is not showing 254 now, it is showing 244 because 10 IP address I have excluded from the distribution here. See, 254 is the range, but 244 is the available IP address. See, because I have done the exclusion. You can do multiple exclusion. You can even do one IP address or in between. Like, and if you want to now exclude one more thing, say for example, you want to do one more exclusion like 192.168.2.100 to 192.168.2.250. No, 150. Okay, 50 address I have excluded here. See, another one more distribution. Now if you see, it would be less than 50 now. See, 193. Why? Because I have added one more exclusion here from the distribution. So like that you can do multiple reservations, multiple exclusions. I will delete this exclusion for now 100 to 150, so that here it will increase by 50 now. See, display statistics has got increased to 244. Okay, this is how you make sure. So troubleshooting is also like that only. When you check the computer availability, when you check the DHCP server service is running fine, the scope is here, the DHCP is authorized, but sometimes people will tell you in the conference hall we are unable to get the IP address. Some people, not everybody. That time what you have to do, you have to come to this scope option here and see the statistics, how many free IP addresses are available. If it shows available is 244, in use is 244, if still some people are not connected, that means there is a exhaustion of the IP address, means all the IP address got exhausted. Because some people's, and you can see in the conference hall only 50 users are there, but 244 IP addresses are consumed. How it is possible? Then you may imagine every day maybe the conference is happening. Every day like 50 users are coming and they are taking some training. Monday 50 users came, the IP address given from 1 to 50. Tuesday 51 to 100. The Wednesday 101 to maybe 150, like that. Okay, it has consumed. By the time Friday comes, all the IP address got used. And only 5 days happened. That is the reason the IP address has not taken back to the DHCP, because 8 days the IP address will not touch. If that is the case, a quick solution is there. How to recall all the IP addresses back to the DHCP scope. Right click on the scope, go to the properties. Here you have this lease duration for 8 days, right? Make it for 2 hours. Okay, and apply. Okay. That means now whatever IP address given 2 hours before or days, every IP address will be taken back, and automatically the scope will be increased from used 244 to used only 40 or 50. How many users are there in your or conference hall? The remaining user, whoever is facing the issue, right, they will be start getting the IP address. So this is a quicker one. So if somebody asks you what is the challenge that you have faced recently at office, you can tell this. So people are started facing the internet issues. They were not able to connect to the network at a conference hall. When upon checking, I noticed that in the scope all the IP address were given leased. Then I quickly reduced the lease duration so that all the old IP address given to the previous users got taken back, and I was managed to fix the issue, and I was managed to handle the situation. You can tell this example. Okay, so now we learnt about the scope creation, now we learnt about the exclusion, now you learnt about the how to make the changes to the DHCP scope, right? So now next thing is, how can you do the reservation? So I want to make sure the same particular IP address should go to my boss machine, because I need to transfer some data. Sometimes I cannot go and ask his availability to make the changes, so that if I know the same IP address, I can remotely connect to his machine, access the D drive, E drive, and copy the data whatever he wanted. Okay, or probably he has got some special permissions in the firewall. There is no blockage for Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, because he is a boss, right? And he will be very much socialized. Otherwise it will be business impact. It will have some business impact. So how to do that? It's very simple. What you have to do, you have to make sure what is his MAC address. How to check the MAC address, guys? How to check the MAC address of a machine? Physical address of a machine, how to check? How to check an IP address of a computer, guys?
IP config.
Yeah, IP config, if you see, it will only give the IP address. See, there is no MAC address. But IP config slash all, if you give, it will give the MAC address also. See, you can see multiple types. Physical address, description, everything. And physical address is your MAC address. Copy the MAC address like this. Go to the DHCP. Okay. Here in the reservation, right click, new reservation, name boss PC. What is the IP address should go? Say for example 50 should go. Okay. And add the MAC address here. Description, reserving boss machine. Okay. So it is DHCP and boot P fine, and both should be kept actually. And now you see there is a new reservation got created, and the reservation name is boss PC. 2.50 is given. Now if you go and see the scope, right, you can see one used out of 244. See, 244 is total addresses available, one is in use, and available is 243. Okay, and now if you go to the address leases, you can see the information inventory. See here, this is the inventory. 2.50 is your client IP address, name is boss PC, reservation it is, okay, and unique ID is this one, and reserving both for DHCP boss machine, description it is. Okay, this is what the inventory. If 100 users are connected, all the 100 computers information you can see it here. Okay, and when is the news, I mean this lease given, what is the when is the probation expiration, okay, all those things you see, all the information you can see it here, and you can even export that to the CSV file, export list, and you can use it as a inventory also. So this is where you can to see the reservation, not reservation, leases, address leases. Okay, you can delete from here also, you can delete it. Okay, so these are all the couple of options that we do in the DHCP. So if I go to the DHCP scope, right, further more options are there. See, if you want to see advanced, if you want to split the scope, one scope into two scope, you can do the split. Like 1 to 1 to 1 2.12 2.50 or 100 one scope, remaining one is another scope. Okay. And if you go to the properties and the configure failover, means if you want to configure a failover, I mean like clustering system for the DHCP, that is also possible. Okay, but we don't need as of now. And say for example you want to deactivate this scope, only this particular scope you want to deactivate, right click, you can see deactivate, yes, and see it will become red, and the IP version 4 has become exclamatory. See here, some exclamatory symbol came. Okay, now how to activate back? Right click and say activate. So these are all the operations. When you are talking in the interview, you need to tell all the technical words. Okay, and I was referring the policies, right? Policy, if you want to see new policy, what policy you want to apply policy, deny policy, that can be created here. And filters, allow, deny was referring, see, if you want to create an allow policy, new filter, see, MAC address, you can add your boss machine, and if you, there are 100 users in your machine, computer, okay, office, only those 100 users should use the internet, none of the other users should you get the IP address in the scope, means you can add all the 100 MAC address and store it here in the allow. And I was also referring, one particular person will come to the office and he will always download the torrents and movies and all, right? And you don't want him to connect to the network. What you can do, you can go to the deny, in the filter, you can just add his MAC address and store, save it. And whenever that MAC address is trying to connect the IP address or get the IP address, the DHCP will not allow him, or he will just deny him, and it will not give the IP address. Okay, this is how you can do the operations. Let me also show you one more scope creation. Okay, my office space. Okay, next, let me 192.168.3.1 3.12 192.168.3.254, and it is also class C. Start IP, exclusion, I don't need anything. This is by default at 1. Configure the scope, yes. 192.168.3.1 is the router IP address. Next, or you can even give this one. This one has 2.1 only, because I wanted to show you something. Okay, next, finish. Okay, so see now here 2 scopes are there. See, each scope has got the same option: address pool, address leases, reservation, scope options, policies. But we have not defined anything in the my office space scope. And if you see the statistics, see, 254 IP address is there, 0 in use, available is also 254. Okay, this is my conference urban, address pool is there, exclusion is there, reservations are there. Okay, now if you right click on this IPv4, there is an option called new super scope. I was referring to you, right? Super scope 01. You can select, see, you can select 2 scopes together and you can finish, and see, now both the scopes got converted and they came under the super scope. This is what super scope means. Now both the scopes are working together. So now whenever some people comes and ask, right, the IP address either it may go 2.1 or 3.1 series, because I have created a super scope. Okay, now if you right click here, yeah, it's the same. I mean the lease duration and all, go to properties. Okay, here properties, and you can see DNS options, advanced. In the advanced you can set the delay, okay, all those things. and generally you can see release durations and all. If you don't want to keep it for 8 days, if you want to keep it for unlimited days, you can select unlimited here. If you want a limited days, you can go up to 999 days also. See, maximum 999 days. In the days you can define, but if you want to keep it as unlimited, you can keep it as unlimited here. Okay, let me check. 8 days, apply and okay. Okay, so this is what all the DHCP related operations actually. Okay, and if you want to take the backup of the DHCP, how to take it? Right click here on the DHCP server options. You have an option called backup. Click on backup. You can define where you want to store. Say for example in the desktop I want to create a folder DHCP backup. See, here DHCP backup is there. Okay, inside this I need to create. Okay, so I'll go to the server manager, I'll go to tools, I'll go to back DHCP, and here right click on the DHCP, take on the backup, and I'll select the folder which is there in the see DHCP configuration and DHCP releases and all, it will be there in the file. You can see it here. We cannot understand, but while explaining the DHCP backup I told you it is C Windows system32 DHCP. This is the main root folder. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll go to DHCP here. Let me delete the super scope option. One scope I will delete. My conference hall is done and I'll keep that, but the other one let me delete it. See, I have deleted one scope. Now let me go to the here, click on the restore. Users, administrator, desktop. This is backup. Select this folder. Click on yes, restoration is started. I have to select that file. Okay. Successfully restored. Now if you go to version 4 super scope and you see both the scopes are there, and see the configurations, leases, address pool, this one, see address pool, everything is same, distribution everything is same. See, this is how you take the DHCP backup and do the restoration. Okay, but by DHCP has got an option, it automatically backs up every 1 hour. If you go to the DHCP, it automatically backs up, guys. Automatically it backs up every once in an hour. Okay, that has got a characteristics. Okay, see, it automatically backs up and keeps here. See, Windows System 32 DHCP and DHCP backup. But the problem is, and it is storing the backup in the same server only. Imagine sometimes if this server get crashes and you are unable to boot the operating system itself, that time it is a risk because you have kept the DHCP in the same server. So to overcome the issue, what we will do, we will schedule the backup and store it in some other server, some other drive. Okay, or in the same server, not in the operating system drive, maybe in the D drive, like this. So that even if the operating system getting crash also, you will install the operating system, install the DHCP, and you can restore from the backup. See, you can even fully delete this one. Super scope only, let me delete. Nothing is there. See, super scope, if I delete, it automatically come to the standalone, right? See, nothing is there now. See, it is nothing. There is no scope only in the IP version 4. It is a fresh build server now. Okay. Say for example, the server DHCP server got crashed, but you have the backup stored in somewhere. And what you have done now, you have freshly installed the DHCP role by going to the Active Directory DHCP, roles, not Active Directory, the server manager. From there you go to the add roles and features. From there you have installed the DHCP and you have landed to this page. Now to restore, right click on the DHCP console option and you have a restore option here, backup and restore. Click on that and now we can go to the C drive, desktop. I have stored it in the desktop, so I'll go to the C drive. I'll go to users, I'll go to administrator and desktop, and here is the backup folder. Select that DHCP backup where I've stored. Click on yes. Now it started. See, while wait, please wait while the DHCP server service is on. DCFP, it starts. It started successfully, restored successfully. Now you see Superscope came. Now you see both my conference hall and my office space, both the scopes came. Okay, it will come with the inventory also, all the lease information, exclusion, reservation, lease duration, policies, filters, everything will come. Okay, so these are all the DHCP related day-to-day operations, starting from an daily tickets. So you may get a ticket for reservation. So in the ticket they will mention everything. Okay, say for example in this scope I want to do some reservation. So right click here on the reservation, new reservation you can just put, or you can VIP user. Imagine is a VIP user. Okay, and the IP address can be 10. MAC address can be AA3344 AC pose ECT. Okay, so just one number randomly I've added. See, added. Now you see, you can see a reservation, and the IP address is going to 3.10, and the MAC address you can see it here. MAC address properties. If you see, okay, see it is only taken 0A. Okay, you can see the MAC address of the machine like this. Okay, later if you want to delete, you can just right click and delete the reservation. Maybe say, what time we do the things, right? Say for example some auditors comes and auditor does not get, they are unable to get it, and you wanted to give them access and you wanted to make them the same IP address so that they can access some particular files and folders in the file server or wherever repository you have stored. That time this is very useful. You need to get the MAC address of those 2-3 auditors, go to the reservations of the scope in respective scope, and you need to do the reservation so that they will only get the same IP address, and you can access those IP address and you can dump the required files and folders to the respective wherever they folder they will ask for. Okay, so I think that's all with the DHCP. And one thing I wanted to show you, if the service is not starting, guys, say for example if the DHCP server is not started, I will make it a stop, then the DHCP console will not be showing at all. If you go to the DHCP now, okay, if I just refresh, see it will be like this, cannot find the DHCP server because the service is not itself is not running. See, if I close it and freshly open from the server manager tools, and if I go to the DHCP, it will tell you the same thing. See here, welcome to the DHCP. See, dynamic host configuration protocol, DHCP is a TCP IP standard. It designed to centralize dynamic IP address assignment. Okay, to add a DHCP server, on the action menu click add server here, action add server. Okay, and if you want to, if there are 2-3 DHCP server available in the same network, if the service is running in all the servers, that time if you want to manage the authorization, go here and you can manage authorization, and they will be visible here. 2-3 servers are there means it will be visible here, whether it is or to 230.130 or 230.131, you can select the required server and make it authorized. If both the servers are showing it as authorized, then both will not work. You have to make sure what scenario it will happen. Say for example, you already have a DHCP server in server 2016, and you decided that you don't want to use 2016 and you have migrated to 2019 with the new server. After some patching activity or something, okay, the service got started in the old server, and in the new server also service got started. So there is a conflict, because in the same network you should not have two DHCP servers. So if that is the case, you need to come here to the action menu, click on add manage authorized servers. Okay, click on the old server and make it unauthorized, and click on the new server and make it authorized. You need to enter, okay, the details, server details. Okay, that's fine. Now what I will do, I will start the DHCP service here. See, if I start the DHCP service, server service, it starts. It is set to automatic but not started. Now it is started. Let me close it and reopen the DHCP console. Now you can see the other options also. DHCP. See, now you can see the authorized server here, and you can see the scope options. You can see all the configurations intact. So these are the ways of troubleshooting actually. Okay, and the way of handling the servers. Now if you go to action, manage authorized server, see, right click and say authorized. That's all. Okay, so these are all the couple of operations with respect to DHCP. Okay, day-to-day operations, project activities, everything involved here. Okay, project activity means configuring a new DHCP server, creating the scopes and all, or maybe take the backup and restore the DHCP server. And day-to-day operations like scope creation, exclusion, reservations, lease duration modifications. Okay, these are all the DHCP day-to-day operations, and service start, service stop, all those things. Okay, so this is all about the DHCP. Okay, I'll stop the recording. Okay, and then I'll take the questions.